great. Long bus ride, but we're back, and you know, we're back. It's all good.
Yeah, it is I feel you on that. I was in the car for about 5 hours Friday myself, round trip, but how far is it wise up there? About 3-4 hours?
It isn't that far, but you got the Asheville factor, which is worse than the Atlanta factor, to be honest with you, this time of year. It took us an hour and a half longer getting through there going up. Coming back wasn't an issue because Saturday night nobody was out. But going up was definitely a problem.
Yeah.
But it's about 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's all the way. And we didn't stay up there. We stayed basically off 81 in Kingsport.
Yeah. UVA wise, kind of southwest corner of Virginia there in the mountains.
You go about 10 miles north, you're in Kentucky. You go about 10 miles, 15, 20 miles south, you're in Tennessee. Keep on going, you're in Carolina.
So how about that? So did some good stuff in the game. Actually led there in the third quarter. We'll get to there in a second. But Erskine, 116 yards on the ground. We've seen a continuous trend of you guys being able to run the ball a little bit better and better and better every week.
Yeah, and that's most certainly by design. I mean, that's something that it's always been something that we've wanted to do, and but again, just growing and developing the kids up front, the offensive line, you know, and typically we've had injuries, things like that, so you're plugging in new ones, but that's been a process. And
have you rolled pretty much the same offensive lineman out this year? Has there been a big kind of carousel? I mean, there for a couple of years, it was a revolving door almost every week, and I think that's kind of solidified a little bit. Are you using the same core group of guys this year?
For the most part, I mean, there were some kids during pretty fast, but it was good to see, and it was nice. And Samaj is someone that has talent and has a skill set, and he's going to have a bright future.
Defense forces a 3 and out on the next possession there, and then you come right back. You go 13 plays, took up about half the quarter. After that, Darius Hazel ran the ball 5 consecutive carries there, went into the red zone, and then Pender finds tight end Austin Dameron there for his first touchdown of the year. We'll be talking to him here in just a little while, and he jumped up on him pretty quickly there, 14-0.
Yeah, I turned to someone and I said, was this the same team we were up 10-0 against last year? So I mean, you know, and that's kind of what we haven't had that kind of fortune, I guess. Mm-hmm. And essentially, I guess where I'm heading with this is that, you know, we've played well in spurts, and we just have not been able to put something holistically together. So I mean, at that point, if we knew it wasn't like Wise was going, or at least I knew it wasn't like Wise was going to go away. They've actually been in a lot of games like that. They're not a very good team early. They have gotten behind to lots of people, but they've come. I mean, they really should have beaten Barton. And the game ended with their ball on the 1 yard line, and the officials kind of botched it. Big time botched it. So I mean, that's a team that they should have beaten, and they've stayed in some other games that and come back from being behind some other games. So I didn't really feel like, the fact that we were up 14 because it was so early. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking that the game was going to end 14-0 at that point.
Yeah.
So.
And they did respond, as you were just saying, touching on their own in the final seconds of the quarter there, but Both defenses kind of dominated in the scoreless second quarter. Fourth down stop by the Fleet after they moved the ball inside the 30 there early on. You remember that turnover on downs there?
Because we had a couple. Yeah, I do remember actually the turnover on downs, and really it was just, they were just bound and determined they were going to go for it. I mean, you could argue whether they should have or not. They probably shouldn't have, but I think they've had some issues with some kickers and things like that. So I mean, they were kind of, because I think the distance was 3rd and 12, I think, or something. It wasn't like it was, it wasn't 3rd and 1.
Right.
So anyway, they've had some issues. So it didn't surprise me that they went for it. But I think, in that game, again, there weren't really any huge plays, given up either way as far as, there was one. But, for the most part, it wasn't, that first half was pretty much kind of like you said, it was kind of for the most part, it was a defensive struggle.
Yeah.
Offensively, we were able to get up on them and do some really good things. And then their defense kind of settled in and kind of started playing a little bit better. So,
but yeah, big sack there. Pretty much ends the half there. The strip sack there. John Lund Howard sacked the Wise quarterback. Got the ball out. Jeremy Glenn pounces on that and preserved a 14-0 lead there at the break. Second half, I think they started off with a long kick return. In the second half, offense kind of cashed in on a short field there. You get tied up. Go 3 and out, and then Joshua Komodo. How many times have we mentioned his name? He's been a player. It seems like he's been there for.
He's grown
forever.
up. He's grown up, and I know he's got a few more games. He's kind of an understudy with behind Nolan Holloway right now, and I'm sure he would like to play a little bit more, but. He's starting to get more and more reps as the season goes on, and I mean he's got a chance to be a pretty good football player for us in the future too. So it's been nice watching him kind of grow and develop, and that certainly was a nice pick he had. Like I was asking him, I said, "You think you could have caught that standing on your feet instead of like falling down?" But anyway, it was good to see. So it was good to see the pressure. Just able to get to the quarterback and create some of those plays this past game.
That sets the offense up pretty good field position there. Dylan Buford ends up knocking through a 47-yard field goal, puts you back in front 17-14 at that point. And I think Wise gets a touchdown, and then I counted the backbreaker was a pick six that they took back to the house and kind of extended the lead there. But Fleet kind of rallied there, but ended a little bit late in the final minutes. Hazel had the touchdown run there in the fourth quarter, but that was about it as Wise chewed up the last 5 minutes or so. But man, the positives you can take away from this, I mean, you guys not only led the game, it kind of seems like you dictated most of the game. A couple bad, bad turnover, honestly, that kind of swung momentum over there.
Yeah, I would say I don't know. To say that we dictated anything, I don't really know. But I mean, I do think that our kids, playing hard, that's kind of that's a minimum of an expectation, I guess, at this point. And I don't think. What I do feel like is that I do feel like momentum swings with our guys right now. Because we haven't had just a ton of success, and when we've had it, it's been in glimpses. It's been in small portions. It's been fleeting, to be quite honest, at times. So when the bad things happen, I don't think there's always the response that you want to have. And that's something that we have to continue to grow with and to develop. We got to kind of grow up a little bit and understand that bad things are going to happen. Things are definitely not going to. We talk about it all the time that you don't succeed your way to the top, you fail your way to the top, and we just have to get them to kind of buy in, and I think they are. But it's late in the season, and you know, it's tough when things don't go right. You know, there's that mental, you know, you're playing mental gymnastics with them, I guess, as well. So there's that along with the physical aspect of the game. So it's twofold for sure.
But I mean, would you say this is one of the better games we've had so far from an execution, offensive, I would think at least, offensive execution standpoint this year?
I think from an offensive standpoint, certainly. I also think that, and there's been others. I mean, you know, I think you saw some of that against Carson Newman. I think you saw some of that against who was it? Newberry.
Yeah.
You know, and those are good football teams. I think you saw some against Mars Hill. I think again, it's not consistent enough. And I'm not saying offensively. I'm saying everything we're doing. You know, from a defensive perspective to an offensive perspective to even special teams. We're not consistent enough, and I think we're getting more consistent. I think, you know, the games are becoming, we're having more and more of those moments, I guess, the good moments,
right,
than what we had earlier in the season. So, you know, as the season goes on, we're getting better at those things. But again, they're glimpses, and being able to sustain it's going to be the next step for us.
All right, Coach. Closing the book on this one here. You got anything that you're going to take away from this one? Anything you're going to really harp on the team about as you head toward the game with Tusculum at home this coming Saturday?
No, I mean, it's funny because they know what I'm going to tell them pretty much as far as, you know, trying to stay the course and things like that.
Yeah.
So one of our kickers, Wes Hiller, likes to always imitate me, and so I say, Wes, get up here. I said, do me a favor, talk to the team and talk to the team and tell them what you think I would say.
Yeah.
And he kind of rattled off. You know, he went through a little dialogue and kind of rattled it off in about 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, and then he turned back to me and I said, good job. And I looked at them. I said, okay, good, ready, break. But you know, there's nothing. It's not. There's nothing. There's no magic potion. There's no. You know, we have to be more consistent on both sides. We have to continue to get kids experience. We got to continue to grow up. I mean, you know, we're having some injuries on our side, on the back end, and you know, we got kids playing that we never anticipated would even be on the field as freshmen. So, you know, we're having some of those issues right now. Where I think the offense has had injuries too now because they've had their top running back went down. You know, you've had a quarterback that got banged up. I mean, so you had some different things, and they've had offensive linemen that were basically taken out before they even got in. So they've had issues as well. So, but that's also part of the game. Yeah. You know, no, we just have to stay the course. I mean, we have to continue. And the thing I'm talking about is we got to get better every week. We got to find a way to get better. It's incremental, whatever it is, but we got to get better every week. And I think if you look at the last half of this season, you know, after the first 3 or 4 games, I think we've been able to do that. Now, it hasn't been enough, and certainly we're looking for that moment. But if we're not making strides and we're not improving, then whenever that moment presents itself, we're not going to be ready to handle it. So,
all right, there's some good words there for me, Coach. That was a lot to dig in. That was heavy stuff. I love it. All right, we got to jump out. We'll take a quick break. Tight end Austin Dameron is going to be in studio with us when we come back. And he'll be talking about his big game, big touchdown catch this past weekend, and a lot more. It's the Flying Fleet Coaches Show brought to you by Sports Break right here on WZLA. Welcome back to the Flying Fleet Coaches Show right here on WZLA 92.9 FM and streaming worldwide, WZLAradio.com. Flying Fleet Coaches Show is brought to you by Sports Break, home of the best meat and 3 lunch in the Lakelands. Live music, weekly drink specials, 20-plus TVs to catch all your favorite teams in action. Call for catering 229-4110. Sports Break, 114 Cross Street Connector in Greenwood. Good friends, good food, and good times. It's Sports Break. I am joined now by Austin Dameron, sophomore tight end for the Flying Fleet. Austin, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Man, doing great. Doing great. Glad to be here tonight. Glad to have you in. First appearance on the show.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Austin. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Green Sea, Floyd, South Carolina.
Okay.
Many of you won't know where that's at.
Yeah.
So it's like 30 minutes away from Myrtle Beach.
Okay. All right. I actually I saw them play for a state championship here a couple of years ago. Were you on that team?
I was there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That was
We played in two. We played Lamar in the first one, and then the second one played Richmond.
There you go. Lamar's the one I think that I saw there. So I come from a very tradition-rich high school there in Green Sea, Floyd's, the Trojans, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Green Sea, South Carolina. Austin, how'd you find your way to Erskine? I mean, that's, what, 4 hours from home just about?
Yes, sir. I was at a camp at UNC Charlotte. It was like a mega camp. There was a bunch of coaches there. That's where I met Coach Ingles, and I got his Twitter. I was talking to him, and that was after my sophomore year. So and then COVID shut my camps down junior year, so just kept in contact with the coaches I met at that camp. And in the senior year, I was like, I need to start applying to schools, and Coach Ingles said, apply here, and then once you get accepted, we'll start talking about like scholarships. So I applied. A couple weeks later, got accepted. I texted Coach Ingles. He said, okay, I'll get back to you soon. I think it was later that week. He sent me my package about what all my money was and everything.
Yeah.
And they set me up good, so it was like hard to turn down.
Yeah. Did you, was college football always the dream for you?
It was around my sophomore year that I realized I could go play college football.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to chase it because not many people get that opportunity.
Right. Very few. Very few. What's the driving force for you? What do you want to do? After school, I see you're a sports management major here, so you want to stay in the sports field.
Yes, sir. Whenever football gets over for me, I want to become a coach.
Okay.
So whether that's college, high school, I just want to keep football in my life.
Yeah. As a tight end, I'm guessing you're an offensive minded guy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the game this past Saturday. You'll take on UVA Wise. As Coach was telling us a little while ago, that was a nice little road trip.
Yeah, it was a long trip. I left Friday, 4.5 hour bus ride to get to the restaurant we ate at, and then after the restaurant, I had a short ride to the hotel. Woke up the next morning and got breakfast, and then an hour ride up a mountain.
Yeah.
Wise. So I mean, it was a good trip. Just hung out with a bunch of the guys that night, and then got locked in the next day.
When you have a long road trip like that, and you're leaving a day early, kind of what's the routine there? I mean, you're at the hotel. Is there certain things that you do every time, or you lean on the superstitious side? I know a lot of people have the same. I mean, they want to wear the same socks. They want to do all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, they wash them.
Yeah, I'm not a very big superstitious guy. I had a coach like that in high school. He sat in the same seat every game.
Yeah.
If somebody sat in the seat, he said, "You got to get out." That's where I sit at.
But so no real superstitions or anything like that. That's cool. Take us through. You had a big touchdown catch in the game this past Saturday. You were first, right?
Yes, sir.
That was
my first touchdown in my college career. Last year I got a 2-point conversion, first game of the season, but this year we've been setting it up all year, just running. There's a play we run and just sets it up, and then eventually coach saw it in the box and caught it, and then whenever we got to the play, I seen how the safety was lined up, and I was like, yeah, I'm up it.
Yeah. I was trying to see how far, what was the, how long was the catch there?
I think it was 10 or 11 yards.
Yeah. That's really cool that you kind of know that the play's coming, you're setting it up a play or so ahead of time, and so instantly when you recognize the defense, you're like,
yes,
please find me.
And I trust Craig to find me on the play. I mean, that's why he's back there. We've got to trust in him.
Yeah. Being a tight end, it's kind of a dual role, man. I mean, you're doing a little bit of everything. You're blocking like an offensive lineman. You're running routes like a wide receiver. Talk us through the playing being a tight end. What's that like?
I mean, It's fun because you get to do everything. It's not like your O-lineman, you know you're blocking every play. There's a chance you get to go on a route, catch a ball. And I mean, that's what you look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do the blocking, but you look forward to the plays where you get to go run a route. Even if you don't get a ball, you still look forward to those plays that you get to go run out and get the chance. Because I mean, that's where I feel like I'm best at, is in the route. But I know I have to block to be able to get that chance.
Right. Here with tight end Austin Dameron. Man, been some tough games so far this year. Even this one this past week, you guys, had a lead and just come up a little bit short. And tough game week before that as well against Carson Newman. What's the mood of the guys? I mean, you still got some good games ahead of you here. Where are you guys going? Kind of, what's the attitude of the team going into the game with Tusculum this Saturday?
We know we can compete with like all the teams we play. Yeah, there's some teams that have histories that are good teams, but we know that we're getting to that point where we can compete with anybody we play against.
Right.
We just have to play a good game. We can't make mental mistakes because that'll cost us. Because we're not an experienced team. We've got a bunch of young guys playing, so those little mental mistakes, it won't hurt a more experienced team, hurt us more just because of how young we are. Because I mean, we've got some true freshmen starting. We've got true sophomore starting and red shirt freshmen starting. So I mean, we're young.
I mean, you played last year a good bit as a freshman.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. So you're on special teams some last year as well. Making tackles out there on special teams. Kickoff coverage, something like that.
It was punt team.
Punt team.
Because I was on punt team, kickoff return, punt return, and PAT. So, and I played offense in a lot of games too. So I got some good experience last year playing against some better teams.
That's good, man. That's good. Man, we're pulling for you. Rooting for you against Tusculum coming up this Saturday. And just keep grinding, man. Future's bright, and like I said, we're pulling for you. And hopefully, you guys, hope you can get you another touchdown or so again pretty soon.
That's the goal.
Tell him to set that play up again. Austin Dameron with a sophomore tight end for the Flying Fleet. We'll jump out, take another quick break, and be right back with more of the Flying Fleet Coaching Show right here on WZLA. Welcome back to the Flying Fleet Coaches Show right here on WZLA 92.9 FM and streaming worldwide. WZLAradio.com. Flying Fleet Coaches Show brought to you by Sports Break, home of the best meat and free lunch in the Lakelands. Live music, weekly drink specials, 20-plus TVs to catch all your favorite teams in action. Call for catering 229-4110. Sports Break, 114 Cross Creek Connector in Greenwood. For good friends, good food, and good times, it's Sports Break. I am joined now by Terry Anton. He is the offensive line coach for the Flying Fleet. Coach, how are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you tonight?
I am doing great. Doing great. Glad to have you in here. This is first time on the show.
First time?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your background here, Coach. Offensive line coach for the Fleet. Kind of how'd you get started in the biz?
Sure. Well, I know your listeners can't see these slight tinges of gray in the beard.
You talking about me or you?
Yeah, both, right? But I've had about 2 decades I spent in the high school ranks here in the state of South Carolina.
Nice.
And last spring, an opportunity presented itself to come up here and join Coach Boyd and his staff and help build this program. And grateful for that opportunity. And then as things happened, the offensive line opportunity opened over the summer, and we spoke, and that's the direction we went. I had a chance to work with some wonderful young men this fall.
Yeah. And we were talking about this in the first segment. Really seeing progression this year, specifically in the running game.
Yeah,
for the Fleet.
It was a focused day one of camp, and we put stats on the board and showed what we've done in the past. And so this is what we want to do this year. This is who we're going to be, and our kids have bought into that mentality. We're young, but those kids grind every day, and it showed. I think we had our 5th 100-yard rushing game this last weekend. It hasn't been done before. And, we're fully focused on doing that again in the weeks coming in.
You don't have the luxury of having a offensive line that averages 6'5", 320.
Don't.
So I would imagine your preaching is technique.
Yeah, and even if you have those guys that are freaks of nature, the technique is still going to win the day at this level.
Yeah.
Everybody's big and strong, and I think that's the biggest adjustment that our kids are facing right now is facing, we got 18-year-old freshmen facing 22, 23-year-old men in the roster.
Right.
So technique is what's going to win the day for them. And that's what's going to build their career going forward, because when they mature in the weight room and those things over the years, that's the piece that you want them to stick with, and that's what makes them consistent day in and day out.
That's you mentioned the weight room. That's so big. I mean, you win in the weight room.
You do. And where we are is we're young and we're inexperienced, and that takes one thing, and that's time.
Yeah.
And that includes time in the weight room to get your body better. It includes time on the field on Saturday to see what it's like. You know, we got one true freshman that's been starting for most of the year. He's come a long way, but that's a way different experience than high school. I think his first start was against Little Ryan as a top 5 defense in the country at the time. So he got dropped in it pretty deep on day one.
Right.
But, he's responded, and so have our other young guys who've stepped in.
You think trial by fire like that sometimes is kind of the best? You're either going to slowly work your way in, or here it is, go figure it out.
You find out pretty quick whether this is what you want to do, especially if you're an offensive lineman, because Austin, who gets to come in our room every now and again with the tight ends to work on blocking schemes. We kind of enjoyed his touchdown from afar. I think we were as excited as he was, because he sits in our room. But it's a challenge for these young men, and it's they come to work every day to get better, and we're going to get there.
Yeah. I was talking to Coach earlier about. Well, I kind of posed the question: would you rather have one group of 5 that just plays the entire year, or do you need that rotation of the 7th, 8th, 9th guy?
Yeah, the reality of college football is you need that rotation. Would it be perfect for all 11 plus games? It's the same 5, but we've been pretty fortunate. I think 3 of our starting 5 from game 1 are still starters, and the young man Hart Cushman we talked about came in game 3, replacing injury. He's been so it's that consistency helps you be better week in and week out.
Yeah.
The reality of college football is it's a physical sport, and things happen, and helmets come off, shoes get untied, as we say in practice, because we don't like to talk about injuries, but you got to have a guy that you can look at and go, it's your time. And in this game, you're always one snap away from being the guy. So.
Right. I know recruiting is such a big part of what you guys do as well. When you're on the recruiting trail, what kind of kids are you looking for?
We look for the 6'5", 300 pound. We're still looking. But you always look at measurables when you can, right? So you want to get guys that meet certain requirements of height, weight, wingspan, etc. But what we're looking for, number one, is physicality, because we want to run football. We want you to be physical from snap to snap. The other thing we look for is aggressiveness. Is you got to be able to deliver that blow each time, and then work ethic. Being an offensive lineman, it's a grind. It's a lifestyle of a grind, and if that's not within your what you want to be and how you want to work day in day out. I mean, it's 60 to 80 fist fights every Saturday,
right? And
you do that 4 days a week in practice. So if that work ethic is not in you, then offensive line play is not. But we've been blessed with some guys who they love it.
Yeah,
they love it. They start the drills before I even blow the whistle. So that's great.
I think once you got that, you find a group of guys that's got that dog in them, and you start to get something special, and that can be contagious sometimes too.
It is, and Coach Boyd talks all the time about it. You have to build guys up in the program. And we've got a true sophomore. I think Jacques ran off the season a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
He's been starting all year. We got Hart Cushman, true freshman. Justin Furbush is playing as true freshman. If you can get those guys built in and build around those young men. We've got some great guys on the scout team that I know give Coach Boyd's defense fits every day in practice. I mean, those guys are grinding too, and they're going to be ready next year when their number's called. That's how you build an offensive line. I mean, the offensive lines and the defensive lines we faced didn't show up yesterday, right? They got built, and that's just where we are. We're in that building process.
Coach Boyd said it that to build a program from scratch, to have a good program, you got to start inside out. Because these little running back guys, they're dime a dozen, right?
There's lots of. We got some good ones of those. Shout out to my guys that I had in the spring. But finding offensive linemen in high school, sometimes you're there because you were just the biggest, slowest guy. But players that want to make that commitment to do that at this level, they do it because they love it.
Yeah.
Because you can't go through this grind like guys like Miles Best and Omar Holland, who are our seniors, who kind of anchored our line all year. I mean, those guys, you have to love it to do what they do. And we're really good at it.
Tusculum coming up this weekend. I know you guys are already in the film and stuff like that. What do you see from your O line there? What do you hope to see against Tusculum?
Biggest thing for us is just to be consistent. Last week we had some spurts where we were really successful, and then we had we made some young mistakes, and those are the things that we have to continue to clean up, whether it's Tusculum or Barton, whoever we have down the line. I mean, those are the things that we can control, and that's where we've got to stay focused. And the conference we play in, there are no easy Saturdays, so we're just going to strap it on tight and go back to work like we always do.
There you go. Offensive line coach Terry Anton. Man, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Awesome.
And
look forward to coming back.
Talk to you. We'll definitely do it again. All right, we'll jump out and take our last break, and we'll wrap up this Monday edition of the Flying Flea Coaching Show with head coach Shaq Boyd to end up. Show a little Tusculum preview. When we come back right here on WCLA.
Best week of the Flying Fleet Coaches Show. Head coach, Shaq Boyd.
Final segment here on the Flying Fleet Coaches Show, brought to you by Sports Break. And I do want to remind everybody, got a home game this coming Saturday against Tusculum there at J.W. Babb Stadium in Greenwood. 1 o'clock is the kickoff there. And you take your game ticket to Sports Break, you get 10% off your entire bill. So go check them out for their 5th quarter after the game Saturday against Tusculum. Want to thank Austin Dameron and Coach Anton for coming in, hanging out with us here on this Monday. And Coach Boyd's going to wrap up the show as usual here. Coach, back at home. I know that's awesome. Second.
This will be the third
home game. That's right. 3rd home game of the year.
Seems like our first.
Yeah, there's some gaps in between the home games there. So Tusculum comes to town and played them the last 2 years. Looks like well, it's time to get a W against these guys.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't. I mean, other than going back and watching the film, I couldn't tell you the score.
Yeah.
I know if they beat us good or didn't beat us good. To be honest with you, with Tusculum, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the game, bits and pieces of it, but I don't remember necessarily. I just know they've been one of the better teams in the SAC the last really since we've been here. I mean, they won it that first spring, I guess, that we've competed, and they've been in the top 1 or 2. It's come down to the last weekend, virtually each of the last couple of years, with them in the running to win the whatever division that we're in for 3 more games.
Yeah.
And right. So, you know, they've been a good football team. You know, defensively they do a lot of different things. They create problems for you up front. They're very athletic. They run well. They do some and they do a lot, and they mix things up, you know, quite a bit. You know, but then they're also experienced, so you know, they're able to do some of that stuff.
At the college level, when you say they mix them up defensively, I know you guys are multiple too. I mean, you have to be because of all the offensive formations that come out there. You want to have good matchups or whatever, but you see a lot of teams that are, you know, 3-3-5 teams or, you know, 4-3 base teams, but then they'll take a backer out, bring another DB in, and, you know, go nickel or whatever. What's your preferred defensive strategy? Not just against like Tusculum, but are you an even front guy or are you an odd front guy?
I've been everything, and we've had success in everything.
Does personnel dictate that?
Personnel definitely dictates that.
Yeah.
You know, and so what we were doing at UVA-Wise when I was there, you know, we ended up being in the, I guess, 17th in the nation in defense when I left. We're not doing those same things here. We can't. We don't have that personnel.
Yeah.
So we have to keep recruiting, and we have to grow kids up in the program. You know, but the deal is we graduated 35 kids last year.
Right.
We're getting ready to graduate 24 more kids. So, you know, the cupboard's getting lean again. You know, you got young guys. I mean, we have talent. Don't get me wrong, but
well, that's a whole football team.
As we
graduated,
as we've talked about, you know, those freshmen don't match up so well when they're playing against some of the cats they play against. So you know, it's, you know, but they need that. They need to go against some of those guys and figure out that, you know what, that when they're in that weight room, they're going to lift that weight just a little bit with a little bit more sense of purpose.
Right.
Than if they haven't really kind of tasted that, I guess.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Tusculum coming in there. I mean, this is kind of cliche. I guess you could say this about anybody. They want to run the ball. They want to be a run-first type team, right?
I thought, but watching the film, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're trying to throw the ball. I mean, they beat Wise 35-7 and threw it 30-something times and only ran it 20-something times. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm thinking, no.
So they're kind of going away from.
That's what I would have thought. In the past, they had been a little bit more run. Now, don't get me wrong, they're running. I mean, they're 50-50 probably on the downs when you'd expect them to be 50-50. Drive start, 1st and 10 for sure. And then they're kind of like everybody else when they get to the the obvious things, and second and long, things like that. They're a lot more passes. So, I mean, that's not anything earth-shattering. That's nothing really new. But I think they're throwing it a little bit more than what I would have thought prior to putting on their film like this.
Right. It's Future Fleet Day. It's Teacher Appreciation Day and Breast Cancer Awareness Pink Out Day at the game this Saturday. Again, 1 o'clock kickoff. Get your tickets at erskinesports.com. Tickets, parking passes, all that available right there. And Coach, here in a nutshell, just a couple minutes left here. What do you hope to get out of this game against Tusculum this Saturday?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Again, that's kind of been the word that we've been trying to, and consistency from start to finish. And we're going to do it. We're moving in that direction, and at some point, being young, that could become just an excuse or a crutch. I mean, they're not. Some of these cats have been playing, all season, so they're not playing.
Yeah.
It's not like they're right off the bench.
You got a lot of good game experience.
They have game experience. So we have to perform, and we have to perform in a 60-minute setting, and we have to stay dialed in for that amount of time. So that's what we're striving for. What we strive for every week. And again, I think we got glimpses of it. I think we're getting better in a lot of ways. I think physically we're not getting dominated like we used to from a physical standpoint. I think we're absolutely able to hang in there and battle much more effectively than we ever have been. And at some point, that's going to mean something. It's hard to see right now, but at some point, it'll mean something.
Well, those one-score losses turn into one-score wins. Is that and there's 3, 4 of those already this year. So, all right, Coach. Best of luck Saturday again. 1 o'clock kickoff there at JW Bath, and get your tickets at erskinesports.com. Tickets and parking passes are available. And good luck.
Benji, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, that's all the time we've got for the Flying Fleet Coaches Show, brought to you by Sports Break. And we'll do it again next Monday night, every Monday right here from 7 to 8 on WZLA.